view ship.
It is time for a travel tips video because Airbnb managed to destroy my holiday abroad, even my New Year's Eve. And that's why I want to share this story with you guys so you can avoid to make the same mistakes in the future. On the 30th of December we checked in a nice Airbnb in Seville. Everything seemed to be going fine, the host was nice at that time and we enjoyed our beautiful day in Seville. Till we came back late into our apartment and that's where the problem started. My partner took a shower, nice hot shower, started to put soap on her body, wash her hair, and then when you're wrapped with soap, unfortunately the shower ran out of hot water. Imagine you're with two people, the second person just needs to take a completely cold shower. So what we did was contact the host, but obviously it's around midnight and the host would not respond at the time, and we contacted Airbnb, and that's where it shows that their customer service is not able to handle with these kind of problems. The first issue is there is not really an official way to call Airbnb. There's a callback option in neighborhood support, so that's what we used. The chat function is not always responsive, so it's better to try to get someone on the line. The first person promised us that she would arrange a list of accommodations that we could choose from the Airbnb platform, so the next day we could book that new place through Airbnb without any additional cost and move to a new place. Due to the fact that it was already after midnight, she promised us that she would come back to us after 30 minutes with a new list. This didn't happen. At 3 AM is when we received the list from her. So we saw this the next morning, but the list didn't contain an explanation how we could book those places without occurring any additional costs, but also were from the wrong dates. So we flagged this to Airbnb, again, called them again, and then they promised us, okay, we will give you a credit so that you can spend that yourself for finding a new accommodation through their platform. This would take around 15 minutes because it has to go through an approval process. Again, didn't happen. And this was the moment that we were already at Real Alcazar in Seville, the main attraction to visit in Seville. It's glorious, it's wonderful to walk around, so there will be a separate video just about that place. It's worth visiting, but unfortunately we were dealing with these Airbnb problems still. So yeah, that's why I'm never going to book with Airbnb again, because I'm just here in the nicest place in Seville, maybe Real Alcazar. But in the meantime, I'm homeless, I'm trying to sort out this problem with Airbnb. And one of those problems was that Airbnb now give us a partial refund for our stay, not the full refund, altered our reservation, so we didn't have any place to stay that night, and didn't provide us an alternative. So we have to search for a new place ourselves on New Year's Eve in Seville, whilst we are still hanging around a pre-booked great attraction in Seville. And now it was afternoon, we were still in Real Alcazar, and the host finally came back to this issue saying, we are just liars, he went to the property, there is hot water, no issue. And we explained, yes, there is hot water, but not enough to take a full hot shower. So it's now after 4 somewhere in Real Alcazar, where we started at 9:30 calling Airbnb. And Airbnb just sent us a message saying they are not willing to give us our money back because we can't prove that the water is cold. And the host says the water is not cold, which is true the first couple of minutes, but afterwards it gets cold. And now it's our word against his, and Airbnb said, well, host wins, we just let you stay in your property. Not sure how that will end up, so I'll keep you posted further on. So again, we called Airbnb. Airbnb said, no, don't worry, you don't need to worry about the evidence, we will take this upon us. And we asked, well, we need to get our luggage out later. Are you going to provide us the full refund for our stay so we can book something else? What kind of evidence do you want to see? Do we need to keep the key in case you are asking later on to prove something whilst we can't enter the accommodation anymore? No, don't worry. It's 7:45 PM, New Year's Eve. Airbnb didn't come back to us yet. The owner, well, not the owner, someone next room we watched out the property kicked us out of the property even when we were filming the evidence that Airbnb was requiring us to take.
This is what she wrote. The bathroom, this smells like cigarette. We're gonna put the water running, and you see, after a whole day, it's still really wet.
You can see the floor, how muddy it is.
Yeah. Now we're gonna put the water running. This is the hottest temperature. You want to tell the temperature now? Well, how do I prove it's cold then? Does it do it? It should be the hottest water. Okay, it's cold. Do you mind coming check? Do you mind coming check the temperature? Do you mind coming check the temperature, please? This is cold. When you take video for Airbnb, baby, she's touching me. Please don't touch me.
No, you should.
Then we called the owner, who didn't even want to talk to us in a normal way, where I was just very understanding. I wanted to have a conversation, but he was like very proud about his place. No idea how that will end up, because that's still going on, and no idea how that will be resolved. But we found a very nice luxury stay in the meantime on New Year's Eve, just before New Year's Eve. So that's quite of an achievement. Customer service of Airbnb. Let me explain you now. Okay, now this is a story. Let me sit down, because customer service of Airbnb. They just don't know what to do with customers and with hosts. This didn't have to escalate that badly if Airbnb just resolved it in a nice way, or just give us a refund so we can move out, or come up with a solution with giving us another property where we could stay and move our stuff, or anything, rather than sending a very aggressive message to the host that something is wrong with his property, which makes the host annoyed, and then changing the message to us several times and not coming back to us. There's just no good communication from their side, and that just frustrates everyone, both parties. Everyone is losing here, and no happy customers, no good deal, and I'm just not going to use Airbnb anymore. Then on the 2nd of January, Airbnb came back to us and told us we have withdrawn all our agreements, refunds that we issued to you, because the host had concrete evidence that there were no issues, the hot shower was working fine, and that was photographed based on a heater with the light on. At least that's what we assumed, because that's what the evidence was in the beginning that the owner supplied. Not providing any evidence that indeed the hot water would run out if you take the shower for a couple of minutes. But what this meant was that now we were charged by Airbnb for a full 4-night stay, while we only stayed there for 1 night. Our trip confirmation on the Airbnb account only has a 1-night stay, because Airbnb altered that stay based on what they think was right at that time, but now they decided to charge us fully again. Also, the review that the host posted about us as a couple to stay there contained some personal information, and when we flagged this to Airbnb, they said, okay, we'll review this. Then they decided there's no mistake, we'll just leave it online. And then I had to point exactly to their terms and conditions saying this is in breach with your own terms and conditions. Please remove this, which they finally did. But again, they are not capable of dealing this by themselves. So long story short, we paid £280 for a 4-night stay where we only stayed 1 night. So our next steps with Airbnb is now to go through a formal complaint process, give them the time to rectify their problems. If not, unfortunately, we have to go to the local county court to claim the amount that they owe us back. And also, if you want to know how this all will end, please subscribe to my video so you will stay tuned when I can talk about those further steps. But in the end, we are not going to use Airbnb anymore based on our experiences, because once something goes wrong, their customer support is not there for the customer to support them on their holiday. And if you had any issues with Airbnb or had to deal with them in any way, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm very curious about your stories with dealing with them.